Welcome to the R.Y.S.E Movement podcast, a place where men just like you learn to raise your standards everywhere. So sit back, grab a pen and a pad, and let's get to work. Welcome to another episode of the R.Y.S.E Movement podcast. I'm Dave R.Y.S.E, and in this part 2 of discipline, persistence, and consistency, we're going to be diving into something a little bit different tonight. Tonight is going to be all about the systems of lack of persistence. So this is the end of the chapter for persistence of this amazing book here, Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't gotten a copy yet, I strongly suggest that you do and you study this thing inside and out, specifically around the chapters of desire, faith, and then persistence. Those three together, you will be able to do, be, have, and experience anything that you want to in your life. I put my absolute life on that. That is my lifetime guarantee. Holy crap. This book is phenomenal. So, last week we spoke into discipline, persistence, and consistency in the positive. All of the traits and attributes, the reasons why you want it, my story around martial arts and business and everything else that's inside of discipline, persistence, consistency, and building willpower. That's the big thing here. It's all about building up a willpower, a set of muscles that you can flex whenever you absolutely need to. And God knows in this day and age of everything being at the ease of access with technology here, you can Uber Eats anything, you can do absolutely anything with technology in this day and age, and it's amazing. However, it can make people extremely undisciplined, not consistent, and shiny object syndrome runs rampant. So, pay attention to this one. Like I say in the intro every single time, make sure you got a pen and a pad and you're ready to take some notes, because discipline, persistence, and consistency are some of the most important ingredients you need. So with that, let's jump into the book. So, symptoms of lack of persistence. Here you will find the real enemies which stand between you and noteworthy achievement. Here you will find not only are the symptoms indicating weakness of persistence, but also deeply seated subconscious cause of this weakness. Study the list carefully and face yourself squarely if you really wish to know who you are and what you're capable of doing. These are the weaknesses which must be mastered by all who accumulate riches. So notice that there, what I said, what you're capable of doing. Understand this, you have limitless potential. You can do, be, have, and experience anything that you absolutely want to. All you have to do is put your mind and body together in unison, in alignment towards your North Star, towards your highest ideals, and that future can be yours. It's very cliche, however, it's the fucking truth. All you need to do is follow your North Star, make sure you're aligned mind, body, and soul. Raise your standards everywhere to be able to achieve that North Star, to be able to go on the path and do, be, have, and experience anything that you want. Raising your standards everywhere to raise your results everywhere. All right, to the list. Failure to recognize and to clearly define exactly what one wants. Failure to recognize and clearly define exactly what one wants. What that means is you need to know what you want, why you want it, how you wish to experience it intimately. You need to be so aware with your wants and desires so you can actually aim towards something. So many people are aimlessly moving through life as if they're adrift on the sea without a sail, and it's just wherever the tide takes them. They're going from job to job, having no purpose, no meaning, nothing that really excites them and gets them ready for their life, gets them ready for their day. You're just aimlessly moving about. And if that's you, just know you're on my mind, because I hate seeing men move through life aimlessly. You have so much potential inside of you. So much of what you can do, be, have, and experience is locked up just in not having any purpose whatsoever. Procrastination, with or without cause, usually backed up with a formidable array of alibis and excuses. You can have one thing, and that's either going to be results or excuses. If your standards aren't up to scratch, you're not going to get the results that you want. And if you're not truthful with the reasons why you're not getting the results that you want, you're living in denial. Denial is one of the grossest places that you can be, because it is a facade. It's a fallacy. It's fake reality. It's as if you think that you're an absolutely amazing Instagram influencer, but behind the scenes, you're living a very depressed life that has nothing to do with what you put up on social media. It's actually really, really sad to see. So, procrastination with or without cause. Be real, be transparent, be vulnerable with yourself. How often do you actually procrastinate? And if you don't want to answer this truthfully, let's call you forward a little bit. I want you to pause this after hearing the instructions, and I want you to go into screen time and see how many hours a day you're giving to your technology, to your phone, to scrolling on apps, to watching stupid videos, to doing things that aren't going to enhance your life. Lack of interest in acquiring specialized knowledge. You are a generalist. You know a little bit about absolutely everything, but there's not one thing in your life that you can truly call yourself forward with and say, this is what I'm here to do. This is exactly what I know more than anyone else in the world knows. One thing that I stand by myself with the way that I hold my standards, with my intentions into life, I know that I can do better things with coaching in specific circumstances where I can use my intuition and call that person forward and help them rise to all they can be, all they can experience. I know I can do that better than anyone else. And it's not being egoic. Yes, there's amazing coaches and mentors and all the rest of the things out there, but I know inside of my soul exactly what I'm fucking here to do on this earth. I know exactly what I'm here to do. I know my mission, I know my purpose, I know my values, I know what I stand for, what I stand against. If you can't answer these questions about yourself, what is my specialized knowledge? What do I know? What is my zone of genius that nobody else has? It's a great place for you to start studying yourself. Indecision, the habit of passing the buck on all occasions instead of facing issues squarely, also backed by alibis. This one here, this indecision of habit, being able to have shiny object syndrome and to just aimlessly blow about by whatever captures your attention. This is what this is talking about here. Not being stuck on social media and scrolling through TikToks and all the rest of it. Don't get me wrong, I've been there too. I've been guilty of just checking out, especially when I get a bit of executive dysfunction going on and I can't actually get up from what I'm doing. It's something really interesting that I'm learning about myself. But that's not really majority of the people out there. Majority of the people out there aren't neurodivergent, they're not ADHD, they're not experiencing executive dysfunction. You're just literally sitting back, procrastinating on something that probably means a lot more than what you're doing, to be honest. The habit of relying upon alibis instead of creating definite plans for the solution of problems. One of my greatest and most favorite quotes from Einstein is, you can't solve a problem from the same level of mind that created it. That means you need to rise above the problem, get a bird's eye perspective, and create solutions thinking. Instead of focusing on the negative, on the big stick of pain that is whipping you, focus on the positive, focus on the carrot that's at the end of the stick that's going to potentially feed you and nourish you and allow you to develop. When it comes to understanding where your perceptions are, when it comes to focusing on either the positive or the giant whip of pain, the negative, you need to know where your direction is going. When it comes to focusing on problems instead of these solutions, you're surrounding yourself with turkeys instead of soaring like an eagle. You are focused solely on the thing that is keeping you stuck. And everyone's intimately aware with the thing that is keeping you stuck, whether it's a relationship, a shit job, not good enough education, you've shot yourself in the foot financially, you gamble, you got poor health, you're a bit overweight, whatever it is. You are the one that the buck stops with. You can't procrastinate. You can't focus on the problem of what's keeping you in that place. You need to create solution thinking and rise above. Raise your standards everywhere so that you can get the better results. This is a good one for those with a giant ego out there, much like I used to have when I was in my mid-20s. Self-satisfaction. There is but little remedy for this affliction and no hope for those who suffer from it. If you have a giant ego and you haven't come to terms with having a giant ego, chances are you're not going to be watching a video or listening to a podcast like this. If you notice that you're a little bit cocky, you're a little bit egoic, just know that this self-aggrandizement, this ego that you're carrying around, it's not helping you in any sort. It's not helping you be a good friend. a better lover, great parent. Having a giant ego and keeping it not in check it'll destroy everything around you. I've seen so many men with giant egos that don't serve them. They think they're king shit for God knows what reason, and they have crashed and they've burnt. You need to keep yourself in check. And if you can't keep yourself in check, create a friendship circle around you where they can say anything to you. Nothing is off limits. I'm very thankful with one of my best friends that he called me out on some stuff that he thought I wasn't considering. And thankfully, we had a really great chat about it. We had a great open communication. He got to say his part. I accepted his criticisms. I accepted his point of view. And I thanked him. Not only did I accept, I thanked him. I said, cool, this potentially was a blind spot for me. I really thank you for giving me this piece of information. It's allowed me to see a clearer perspective, some things that I considered, but obviously haven't considered to the full depths. And he was able to call me on it, and it was amazing. So if you can't do that with yourself and keep your ego in check, get people around you that aren't bootlickers, that aren't yes men, that are going to call you on your shit. Indifference, usually reflected in one's readiness to compromise on all occasions, rather than meet opposition and fight it. So obviously you don't want to be a narcissistic, aggressive douchebag. The world has enough of those. The thing that we're talking about when it comes to just falling over with indifference is have a backbone. Stand up for yourself in situations where you know that you're right. Not in an egoic way like we spoke about in the previous one. I'm talking about stand up for yourself because you know what's right. Stand up for yourself because you're not going to cower. You're not going to flip-flop around in between decisions. You're prompt to decision. You know yourself. You trust yourself. You have the understanding of the sovereignty inside of yourself in your decision-making powers that you know the right decision when you can make it. You're firm. But you also know when you're too firm. You know when you can be flexible. You know when you can compromise on certain things. It's not a clear line in the sand of this versus this. It's understanding you know how to make the decision and pivot on the go if you absolutely need to. Stand up for yourself, yes, but absolutely call yourself out like the previous point about having a giant ego and say, yes, I was wrong. Your position is right, whatever the circumstances are. This one is huge. 2023, and this was getting called out all the way back in the 1920s and 30s. The habit of blaming others for one's mistakes and accepting unfavourable circumstances as being unavoidable. I don't know what is going on in the world at the moment in 2023. It seems like it's the victim Olympics. There is just victimization, oppression everywhere, left, right, and center. That's all that you see on social media. That's all that you hear about in the news. That's all a lot of people are talking about. It's scandal after scandal after cancellation after cancellation. And it's all nonsense. It's all a fabrication. It's just people choosing to be victimized. Those people that are out there that have actually been victimized by something, you know how hollow it all feels. I've been victimized, I've been traumatized, I've been abused. I know exactly what all of these things feel like. And this is not victimization. This is not what it is to be abused. You need to pull your finger out. You need to make sure that you're looking on the bright side of life. Nothing that you were born into is your fault. However, it is your responsibility to do something about it. Like I said, if you were victimized, if you're abused, if you were born into low socioeconomic status, whatever race, religion, creed, culture you have, it is not your fault for being born. So many people claim this victimhood as a part of their identity structure just because you were born in the skin that you're in. Yeah. Don't blame others. And you absolutely can do something. Some of the most amazing stories of people that I've helped coach to greatness, to great things, to changing circumstances, to having big wins and big results came from people that were actually disabled. I've worked with a couple of people that are autistic ADHD, and they're absolutely thriving. They're having an amazing time. They're not blaming the way that their brain thinks, the way that their neurodivergence works. They're using it in the best way that they can possible and understand they have their own version of limitless potential. They accept, but they do not take it for face value. They go, I can do something with this. I can transform this because I'm not going to sit back in my fixed mindset. I'm going to grow. I'm going to experience. I'm going to do, be, and have anything that I wish to have. The weakness of desire due to neglect in the choice of motives that impel action. We've already spoken about desire. Desire is okay. Understand where that desire comes from, absolutely, but desire is okay. It's okay to want things. That's what this life is about. Yeah, you don't want to accumulate too many riches. You want to make sure that you're living comfortably, within your means, within your potential, but at the same time, make choices. Choose things that are great for you. It doesn't matter what's going on outside the world. Whereas whatever you feel inside of your heart, your true calling, your North Star that you aim towards, it's okay to want that. And it's okay to want that, especially if it comes to serving mankind. If you can do something that is your North Star, that is guiding you towards higher purpose and meaning, and it serves other people, I'm going to tell you, you've hit the fulfillment jackpot. You cannot understate just how amazing it is to serve other people and to raise them up and to make their lives just a little bit brighter because you helped, you served, you made a laugh, you did whatever it is that you do that is unique to you, and you did it, and it has made such an imprint on someone else's life. It's a really beautiful thing. Willingness, even eagerness to quit at the first sign of defeat, based upon one or more of these 6 basic fears. That's an amazing point in this book here. It goes through the 6 basic fears. We're obviously not going to get into it on the podcast. We'll get into it eventually one point where we go through this book in depth. I suggest having a look at it by yourself. So willingness, even eagerness to quit at the first sign of defeat. What about willingness to sit back and not even start? What about the complicit decisions to not take action on who you could be? What about the implicit action that you take where you just sit back and do absolutely nothing because you're afraid? You're afraid of failing. You're afraid of, what might other people think? Who gives a shit what other people think? If and when this channel blows up and I start getting in front of tens of thousands of people, I don't really care what they think. I'm going to do what I think is right, what I think is the truth, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. Do I care what people say if there's negative comments? No. I'm still okay. I'm still helping people. That's the main thing for me. You need to start, and you need to get out of your own way. Lack of organized plans placed in writing where they may be analyzed. You guys can't really see it, but just above me here, if you're on YouTube, I've got a frame picture that has my desire statement of the exact amount of money that I want and what I plan to give to be able to receive that money in my lifetime. It is in the start of this book. You have to go into chapter 2, Desire, where it talks about the 6 steps to attain riches. And just remember, in the context of this book, it's not talking just about finance. It's talking about health, wealth, relationships, friendships, business, philanthropy. It's talking about absolutely everything. So don't think about, I need to increase my finances. No, that's just a measurement piece. Remember, talking about SMART objectives here, we talk about specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. The specific and the measurement need to be written down to the detail so that you can study it like it said in here. The habit of neglecting to move on ideas or grasp opportunity when it presents itself. So many people hold to ideas and to businesses and to partnerships, relationships, investments where they're holding on and they're strangling this thing because it has to be a certain way. It's the old Buddhist way of suffering, samsara. Existence is suffering, and our attachment to it is what is causing the pain. So if we just release that thing that is no longer serving us, how free would we be? How much less pain would we be experiencing? How much less suffering would we be experiencing by if we let go of that thing that is crushing us? And on the flip side, grasping opportunity when it presents itself. One of my favorite sayings comes down to this thing, and it's, are you aware enough to be tickled by the feather, or do you need to have a brick thrown through your window, or do you need to be run over by the truck to face the opportunity, to face the consequences of what's happening because you're neglecting something? It's the feather, brick, and the truck analogy. Can you get tickled to notice the signs, symptoms, the symbology, the metaphor, the story that is underneath everything that is yelling at you, it's screaming at you to say, hey, take me, run with me. This is the thing. This is the change you're looking for. This is the big sign. It's a flashing fucking neon sign saying, hey, pay attention to this. Can you be aware enough for that? Or does a brick have to be thrown through your shit? Do you have to have windows smashed, be terrorized, scared, just because something has come crashing through the window and has woken you up and gone, oh my God, what is this thing? Or are you that daft and you're not willing to look for opportunities or red flags, especially in relationships, and you get run over by a truck? Some chaos and calamity has come to your life and it has absolutely flattened you. I hope you can be aware enough to listen to that intuition for the tickle of the feather. I know I've had many bricks thrown through my windows and I have not learnt over and over again. And also, I've been hit by a few trucks. You need to pay attention to what are the signs, symbols, and flashing neon telling you, hey, pay attention to this. This is a good thing. This is a bad thing. Whatever the signal is, pay attention. Listen to that little whisper of intuition as well. Wishing instead of willing. Discipline, persistence, and consistency is all about willpower. It's building that willpower. The habit of compromising with poverty instead of aiming at riches. General absence of ambition to be, do, and to own. We've already spoken about this. We are, as some people call it, the late stages of capitalism. And with that comes less than ideal and less than favorable circumstances pretty much in every aspect of life. I mean, you look at politics, it's a dumpster fire. You look at economics, it's a dumpster fire. You look at individual sovereignty and tyranny and, CBDCs and everything else that is just absolutely fucked in the world. And it's really easy to see it as a negative. It's really easy to see it as nihilistic. It's really easy to not do anything about it. However, Mr. Sayings here, but one of my favorite sayings is not the years in your life. It's the life in your years. You want to have experiences. You want to live great. That's what this channel is all about. It's about raising your standards everywhere so that you can have better results. And if you're sitting back and accepting the unfavorable circumstances in your life, you're selling yourself short. You have so much more that you could experience, that you could embrace, that you could feel. Imagine feeling more love than what you feel right now. Imagine feeling more self-worth, more having a better self-image, having better finances, better health, better relationships, better intimacy, better connection with all of life. Imagine what you could do if you really applied yourself. Searching for all those shortcuts to riches, trying to get without giving, fair equivalent, usually reflected in the habit of gambling, endeavoring to drive sharp bargains. So if you're a bit of a tight ass or you gamble, this is one of the greatest things that is holding you back from being persistent, from building willpower, from building discipline. The thing that is holding you back is being flippant with your beliefs around money, with your beliefs around your time and what your time is worth. This is a huge thing to consider. This is a massive thing for you to meditate on. What relationship to gambling, to chance, to not putting my willpower in and having a definite plan calling me forward, having a desire that is my North Star that I aim my entire life at. That you're selling yourself short there. Fear of criticism, failure to create plans and to put them into action because of what other people think, do, or say. This enemy belongs at the head of the list because it is generally exists in one's subconscious mind, where its presence is not recognized. See the basic 6 fears later in the book. That there, fear of criticism, of what other people say, do, whatever they bring to you. What people say about you is not your business. It's their business. It's their problem. It's their fuck-ups in their own mind. It's their programming that they haven't deprogrammed and they can't think any other way. Think of it this way. This is going to sound crude, but I'm going to say it anyway. If an NPC, so a non-playable character, has been programmed to do one thing, and the first 7 to 14 years of your life is extremely important because you're going to be a sponge that absorbs absolutely everything of your upbringing. All of your role models are going to be around you, and you're going to pick out people that are less than favorable because of your upbringing. You're going to be geared in the negative. You're going to be geared in survival. You're going to be geared in victimhood and why me. You're going to rely on what other people think of you. It's not going to be easy for you to dissociate what other people say or what other people do around you. You're going to cling to them as if it's a bad smell. What they say, what they think about you, it should not create any disruption inside of you. It doesn't matter. It does not matter whatsoever. What other people think and what other people say about you is their business. Rise above that. Raise your standards everywhere to have the courage and confidence to not have to worry about it. I spent so much of my damn younger life caring about what other people think. Trying to bend over backwards, be the nice guy, be pleasant, be polite. Because I just cared so much about what other people thought of me. Now I know what I know. And I know a lot thanks to ADHD and hyperfixation. But yeah, that's interesting. Sorry guys, just getting a bit emotional. One last little bit from this book. How to develop persistence. There are 4 simple steps which lead to the habit of persistence. They call for no great amount of intelligence, no particular amount of education, and but little time or effort. The necessary steps are a definite purpose backed by burning desire for its fulfillment, a definite plan expressed in continuous action, a mind closed tightly against all negative and discouraging influences, including negative suggestion of relatives, friends, and acquaintances, a friendly alliance with one or more persons who encourage you to follow through with both plan and purpose. These 4 steps are essential for success in all walks of life. The entire purpose of the 13 principles inside of this philosophy is to enable one to take those 4 steps as a matter of habit. Sorry, I'll read that again. The entire purpose of this 13 principles of the philosophy is to enable one to take those 4 steps as a matter of habit. Habit, discipline, willpower, persistence, consistency. These are the steps by one may control one's economic destiny. They are the steps that lead to freedom and independence of thought. They are the steps that lead to riches in small or great quantities. They lead the way to power, fame, and worldly recognition. They are the 4 steps which guarantee favorable breaks. They are the steps that convert dreams into physical realities. They lead also to the mastery of fear, discouragement, and indifference. And that's where we're going to leave today off. Discipline, persistence, and consistency. The negative things that are holding you back, we just covered. Have a look at all the ways that you hold yourself back. Maybe you procrastinate. Maybe you listen to other people and what they think and say. Whatever it is, have a good hard look at yourself and raise your standards in how you move forward in life. Raise your standards to want specific things, to have a desire, to have a burning desire so strong inside of you that when it comes to action, you can't not act. You can't sit back and procrastinate and to care what other people think if you have a strong enough mission. With purpose and meaning, you can have and experience anything that you want. So raise your standards higher. Become a man of high value, high standards, and high results. Be impeccable with your word, but also make sure you back it up with action. Next week, we're going to be wrapping up our final episode of the health and fitness portion of the podcast. We're going to be moving further into relationships because I'm very passionate about relationships. They have been my life's greatest teacher. I've been through so many terrible relationships, a few good ones, and my intimate relationship that I have with my fiance. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. So I can't wait to talk about relationships because I've made plenty of fuck ups, but I've done some really good things, especially in my relationship now. So thank you for being here, men. Much love, and until I see you in the next one, take care. Thank you for being with me today. Thank you for subscribing and leaving a review. It really helps us out. Until next time, take care and much love.